Hi,
I
Muley.
am not outside. I am right here.
Well, hi, Muley. So,
Hi there.
Muley, does Kevin ever like talk in your voice by accident in public?
What an odd question. No.
So, what's your main message that you talk to kids about with your friends?
Oh, well, we talk about peace and joy and happiness and love and candy and cookies and cakes and pie and pudding and I think I went through all the good stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
And welcome to the Tiberius Show today, and I'm your host, Tiberius Boy. And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Today's guest is going to be very interesting, and it's a true master of creativity. He's a puppeteer, comic book artist, writer, and a storyteller. Now, do we know what a puppeteer does? Well, I think I might have an idea. But you know what? Let's just talk to this guy and find out. Let me introduce you to the founder of Kevin L. Williams Productions, the one, the only, the amazing Kevin Williams.
Hey, thank you. What an introduction. Jeez, I felt like I should have on a cape and fly in.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So you're listed as a professional puppeteer. So can you explain to my listeners exactly what does that mean?
I'm not sure about professional. A lot of people say I'm not very professional. I don't know. But anyways, a puppeteer is just someone who takes things that are inanimate objects and make those objects come alive.
So Kevin, what came
Hmm.
first? Puppets or making comics?
It was actually making comics. I've always been inspired by Charles Schultz, which would be the characters back over here over my right shoulder, and that's Peanuts, Charlie Brown and Snoopy. I created my own comic strip of Snoopy characters when I was a little kid, and was told that they're copyrighted. You can't. So I said, well, fine, I'll make up my own characters. And originally they were supposed to be dogs. The lead character was going to be a dog, and my grandfather said, well, that's muley looking, ain't it? And I said, "Oh, it's not a dog; it's a mule. He's a farmer. He would know." So I said, "Okay, Muley the Mule," and thus the character was born. 10 years
Okay.
after that, that was 1980,
Oh
the
wow.
late 1900s, as I'm saying nowadays, making a lot of older people angry at me. But that was in 1980, and then in 1990, I built the first Muley puppet. Who doesn't know he's a puppet? But you know how that goes.
So, what made you say, you know what? I want to spend my life playing with puppets and drawing funny animals?
I was always inspired by all of these different characters, Peanuts and Muppets and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, reading Rainbow, the animated things there, Looney Tunes, all kinds of different things. And what those bits of inspirations gave me was not just the creativity, but joy. And one of the things I wanted to do with all of my characters was to create some sort of entryway to joy for a lot of other people. So get the characters together and do something silly and funny with them, and hopefully people laugh and have a good time. Get and get happy.
Mm-hmm. So, Kevin, what was the first comic character that you ever drew?
That would be Muley. And well, no, actually, let me take that back. My personal character obviously would be Muley. The first character I can recall drawing by name would have been Snoopy. Yeah,
Okay.
followed rapidly soon after by a bunch of Muppets.
Mm. So, what's the difference between puppeteering live in person or doing it on TV?
Well, live in person, sometimes you have a movie, not a movie screen, but a screen of some sort, a puppet stage that kind of blocks you out. And then your puppet comes above the screen or the stage and talks to people, and they can see that. Whereas when you are working with a TV show, you don't have the screen, you don't have a stage. The bottom of the TV screen is now the top of the proscenium, as they call it. And if this were the bottom of the screen, that's where the body of the puppet is then seen as opposed to behind another thing.
Mm.
Uh, you get multiple retakes if you need them with TV, with film, with any of that. If you're doing it live, you have got to know what's coming next, and you have to be able to dance around different things that might happen simply because you never know what's going to happen when you're live and on stage and in front of people. Sometimes the audio might mess up, sometimes the stage might fall. And in those cases, you got to be ready.
Mm-hmm. So are some puppets like easier to control than others? Like Yoda.
Well, let's say Yoda, for example. That is a piece of rubber masking over a plastic skull with a whole bunch of electronics running into it. With that, you'll have a lead puppeteer. In this case, it would have been Frank Oz, who was also Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Bert, Grover, Cookie Monster. And you can hear it whenever you hear Yoda next to Grover's voices. You can hear it very clearly that it's the same guy. But he's operating the mouth and the motions of the head. He's operating body movement and at least one hand. In Empire Strikes Back, he was assisted by, I think it was Catherine Mullen, who was one of the Muppet performers on the right, his right hand, Yoda's right hand. But then there were many other people who were behind the scenes operating the eyes, the
Yeah.
mouth motions, his ear movements, um, his eye movements, all of that. There would probably be another 3 or 4 puppeteers behind him doing those motions. And so it becomes this bit of a dance whenever you're working with a character like Yoda or the Gorgs on Fraggle Rock, which they actually do dance. Um, then you have marionette puppets that are operated by strings and rods above the stage. So you'll be up here, and the puppets are performing down here, right? My favorite kind of puppets are hand puppets with a moving mouth and either an arm rod that moves the arm around or live hand puppets like Fozzie Bear, for example. You have a puppeteer that's performing the mouth. Their left hand is the puppet's left hand. Another puppeteer could be the right hand and move that hand instead. So that way you'll have both hands live, head moving. Cookie Monster does that too. Those are good examples. And then your
So
glove puppets are basically the kind that can, you have a little head here and you have the other 2 hands here. And those are cute, but I prefer the big mouth puppets. Reminds me of
so
myself a little.
so how many puppets do you control at the same time?
Well, well would be one. That way you can handle the motion of the hands, the head, and all of that. If anything other than the head motion is not required, you can do 2 at one time. When I was a kid and I was a little bit more limber, I could actually, if the character didn't have to have a mouth move, I have before used my leg and my foot to raise up a third puppet. God, that was forever ago though. Now I couldn't do it if somebody held a cannon to my face, Looney Tunes style, and said run 3 puppets. I'd be like, nah, just blast away.
Yeah, that's rough. So is this a profitable business to get into?
It can be. It just depends on your location. It depends on the events. It depends on where you're going. It depends on your ticket charges. So there's a lot of depending behind it. If you do a lot of work with charity, for example, you may not get paid for that, but you are helping somebody and you're bringing joy to somebody else, an inspiration, and that's a big deal. Muley, for example, has been the official spokesmule for the Ronald McDonald House of Memphis. Not only did he perform with events at Ronald McDonald House, where 51 or 52 families stay while the children are being treated at St. Jude. But he would go out on the road and go to other events outside of the house in order to help raise funds for the Ronald McDonald House. Sometimes he used to, a long time ago, co-MC events with one of the local radio stations, morning DJs, and that was always a blast. So there's nothing quite like having somebody like Muley on a radio show where he could be seen and not heard, which is typically how people want me too. They want to hear me but not see me.
So what is something that you think a kid thinking about being a puppeteer should know?
I think that if a kid wants to get into puppetry, the thing that kid should know is that you need to have a good, strong arm. Be prepared to hold up above your head extra weight for however long it takes to do what you've got to do. So build up that strength and get prepared to teach yourself to coordinate and choreograph yourself, because research is good, practicing with acting is better. Doing improvisation with your friends is a great exercise for when things might go wrong later. But coordinating, the idea that you have to have an eye focus, you have to be able to move with particular syllables, all the same time, motion of the head, motion of the body, and maintaining some sort of arm motion to keep this thing alive. These are all things that helps to study, educate oneself on, and learn, and practice, 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 practice.
Alright, well here seems like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
So you want to make an ad for your company, right?
Yeah, Tiberius, you want to help me?
Okay, so what's the name of the company?
PPWND.
PP what?
Professional Pressure Washing and Detailing.
So you like clean driveways?
Yeah, like that. We pressure wash commercial buildings and semi-truck and trailers.
So how would someone get a hold of you?
They can visit my site at ppwnd.com or call me at 407-900-7793.
So I just tell them to call you at 407-900-7793 or visit ppwnd.com?
Yeah, Tiberius, you got it.
Cut, that's a wrap. Just use that.
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
And we're back here with Kevin Williams, a professional puppeteer. So, Kevin, you've auditioned with the Jim Henson Company and Disney. Well, that's awesome. Many would call that a dream opportunity. What was it like for you?
I would say that that's one of those neat little bucket list type things. To be able to go out and meet with some of the professional folks that you followed your whole life, and even perform a little bit with some of the characters you've enjoyed your whole life as well. So it was a bit of a fanboy experience, and at the same time educational, and what all it takes to do those types of things, and to prepare yourself for other things you've got to do out there as well. It was a little daunting because of the crowd of people that you're in front of at the time. You yourself, I'm a little bit better with a puppet in front of me, and probably needed to have kept one in front of me that whole time too. But at the same time, it was fun. It was fun to be there with all of these people, to talk to them, and then show them what you can do, what you do when you're not just sitting around the house drawing or whatever else you're doing at that point. And when you're out in front of the crowds and when you're doing your thing, that was a good time to show them what you can do.
Okay, so what was the hardest lesson that you had to learn when getting going in this industry?
I think the hardest lesson I learned early on was trying to get cake icing out of your puppet's fur. The initial paid gigs when I started out were birthday parties, and little kids like just digging into their cake and ice cream, and then they also like to run up and hug and kiss puppets. And that ice cream and that icing, especially the colorized icing, it's really hard to get out of fur. So I think that might be the toughest thing that I learned getting into it. And also teaching parents that you're there for a performance and not a babysitting gig. A lot of parents would take off while you're doing your thing, and next thing you know, you've got 20 or 30 little ones running around where you're at, grabbing your performance tools, your puppets, and again, smearing ice cream and cake. So I had to start telling folks, if you leave me, I'm going to charge a babysitting fee in addition. And that kind of started people sticking around at that point.
Yeah. So what do you do when something goes wrong while you're puppeteering?
There's a couple of different things that could go wrong. Earlier, I mentioned if the sound equipment were to go bad, what do? You just start yelling and get the vocals out as best you can in some cases. Other times, the characters might wave and pop down. I was at a performance one time with a different group of folks, and the stage was put together well enough, except for some reason, one or two of the people that was behind the stage was mad at the other folks, and they knocked the stage down. And I just kept performing until I saw that everybody else brought their puppets down, and I said, oh, okay. Down I came with it. But you just keep going. That's in a case like with Muley and friends, though, the good thing is that my best friends are also Muley's best friends. So you guys have talked with Marthias Wade and Jetta Tells of the Toshigawa, which I edit all of that. He and his wife are my best friends, or some of my best friends, I should say. And Muley's best friend Buford is assisted by Marthias Wade. His best friend Missy, though she probably wants to be more, is assisted by Janet Wade. And then his other friend Roy Duck is assisted by my other dear friend DeMarco Randall. And so while we have these characters hopefully doing something fun and entertaining for everybody else, we're entertaining and having fun our own selves. However, if something goes wrong, if we miss a line, we mess a line up, whatever it is, we can still have fun with each other by the characters having fun with each other. And the crowd gets it. They get that, oops, there's a mistake, but they're working their way through it. And so if something goes wrong, as long as you've got those folks with you, you're okay. One performance I did at Superman Celebration in Metropolis, Illinois, I did not realize that I had taken the plug-in to the speaker system and pushed it all of the way in. And when I did that, even though I had pre-recorded the character voices so that while I'm back there by myself, I could perform two characters at once and not be trying to switch voices between the two, right? So I had pre-recorded all of that. However, when I pushed the cable all the way in, somehow it was skipping the vocal track. And they just happened to have a microphone and a microphone stand, and then I had to go back in, and while the music played on their parts, do every single character voice, even the girl voices, which I'm not the best at all, and make it happen, make it go. And sometimes you just have to jump in and make work what you can get to work.
Okay, so you said that your main puppet is Muley. Is he here today?
He is here. Do you want to see him?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, give me just a second. I'll go get him, okay?
Hi, Muley.
I am not outside. I am right here.
Well, hi, Muley. So, Muley,
there.
does Kevin ever like talk in your voice by accident in public?
What an odd question. No.
So,
Well,
what's your main message that?
Huh?
So, what's your main message that you talk to kids about with your friends?
Oh, well, we talk about like peace and joy and happiness and love and candy and cookies and cakes and pie and pudding and I think I went through all the good stuff.
So, why is that so important to you and your puppeteers?
Oh, to me and my puppet friends?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's important to me and my friends. They're not necessarily puppets. It's a dog and a duck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they we just think that it's a nice thing to teach and talk about and have fun with.
So, do you think other kids should be looking into being a puppeteer when they grow up?
I mean, if they want, keep them busy.
Well, thank you so much, Muley, but I still have a few more questions for Kevin.
Oh, you're done with me?
Well, I guess so.
Oh, okay.
Bye-bye, Muley.
You certainly want to deal with the human. He's okay, but he's kind of dull.
I still got a few more questions for him.
Okay, all right.
Bye-bye,
Oh,
Muley.
here he comes.
There he is.
Yeah, I saw him run off over there, so you got
So,
him.
Kevin, what's the best advice that you've ever been given, and who gave it to you?
I'm going to say 2 people gave me really good advice in my life. And it was my grandparents and actually I've had a lot of really good advice in my life. But my granny, I asked her one time, I said, "What's the secret to life?" And she said, "The secret to life is love the Lord, love everybody, treat everybody right, and they'll do right by you." I was like, "Oh, that's beautiful. That's great advice." And I asked my grandfather, Papa, the one who named Muley, by the way, I said, "Papa, what is the secret to life?" He said, "Don't dip snuff." Okay.
So, why would a kid listening today want to grow up and do your job?
It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's a creative outlet. It's something to do with downtime. If you find a different hobby that leads you into a different direction than this, and at the same time, creativity may not necessarily be in art or puppetry performance or something like that. The creativity may be in building a house, cutting hair. Doctors, nurses, they're creative in their own ways because you have to think creatively and outside the box, in other words, to do what you do, right? And that's kind of what we as puppeteers and we as cartoonists do when creating our art forms is you have to think outside that box. What is, how do you make this glorified sock come alive? How do you take a blank piece of paper in a square or 4 of them or 6 of them and make a page or a story out of these little blocks of blank paper, right? So I think that putting one's mind to work in whatever people choose to do is a good plan. And I think that if it's in something creative, learn all about it, find out the history of it if you can, and just do it. Practice, practice, practice. I think those are the 3 best things to do with it.
Well, on that note, let's take a quick break to pay some bills.
All right.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And we're back here with Kevin Williams. Let's just continue real quick. So, what's the one tool or item that you can't live without when doing your job?
Puppets. Just puppets.
That's a good answer.
I would be a puppeteer. If we're talking about comics, pencils, inks, Bristol board, tracing paper, a ruler here and there.
Well, do you ever feel stuck with an idea, and what do you do with them?
If you mean if I get to a point where I'm trying to work on an idea and I can't quite make it through the idea, then in other words, like writer's block sort of a thing, If that's what we mean, then I will set that to the side and work on a different idea, because then while I'm working on this other project, that might be when the idea I was stuck on pulls its brake loose and gets ready to drive, you know. So it's just moving from one project to the next. If I get stuck on a thing, I like to have a conversation with my friends. Sometimes I'm going to say, you know, hey, I'm trying to think of this. This is kind of the direction I was going, but I'm stuck. What do I do with this? And they may come back and say, yeah, the idea stinks. Just kill it, dead, bury it, be done with it, flush it. Okay. But sometimes and usually they'll come back in and say, you know, no, here you're going the wrong way with this, right? Do the idea this way instead. Or I might pitch a punchline for a joke and I think it's funny, but it stinks. And they may, in that conversation, give me the information I need to do a really, really good punchline that really punches up the joke. So if I get stuck, I either work on something else or have the conversation with somebody about it. And sometimes ideas develop out of just sketching the characters. Sometimes as you sketch them out and you have them doing different things, they tell you what they want to do while you're doing it. And so as psychotic as that might sound, characters will tell you what they want to do while you're writing. So you just write it.
So, do you think AI has a positive role in your industry at all, or are you worried it might take over parts of a job and cost people a living?
I think that AI, it is not creative. AI requires other people's work because the computer can generate based on what's already out there. It cannot create on its own. And you could type in things, but what you're typing in, again, is still requiring the computer to find that stuff to make what it's going to do out on the internet, out in the world. However, while that also loses a lot of personality and it loses a lot of the spirit behind what creates an art, you have a person who's doing the work and they put their soul, their heart, their sweat, their years of education into it, and they will produce for you, for the viewers and the audience, something that has that heart to it that we all look for, that we all need. And so after all of that, I'll say, if it's just typing in some stuff and hoping for something good, nah, AI is not going to do it for you. Putting in the work and the effort and the attempt, that'll do it for you.
So, Kevin, what do you do for fun when you're not working?
I like being with people, and so if I'm just sitting around with friends, for example, my birthday's coming up in not too long from now. I like to have a party where I sit and eat with my friends. I don't need presents. You can see behind me on the shelves, I've got everything I could ever need, right? So I like being with people. I like visiting. I like talking. I like hearing stories. I like what else do I do? I like to read. So I've got some books that I like to delve into, and I've bought probably way more books than I'll get into in this lifetime. So I hope whoever ends up with them when I'm gone one day still has them. So if I come back around this way, I can read them.
So, what's your favorite book?
My favorite book, I enjoyed a book about, gosh, I've got too many. The over my head here, there's some books about Peanuts. Where are they at? Trying to find it. Here they are. These books about the Peanuts characters here. In that corner, I've got, in these two shelves here, books about the Wizard of Oz. Over my head here, there's some more Peanuts books. There's books about Big Bird and Oscar, Kermit the Frog, books by them. Being Elmo, the guy that performed Elmo for a while, is there. Back down here, that's books about Disney. Up there are books about Charles Schulz, who created Peanuts. And back here are books about Jim Henson. Let's see. That might tell you everything you need to know so far.
Okay. Now, can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid's show. But that one story, well, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
Let's
I know,
see.
I won't tell anybody.
This is just between us, I know. The one story I shouldn't tell. I'm trying really hard to think of something fun and entertaining, and I can't think of anything. I'm a little bit boring sometimes. Okay, well, I know kids may be listening to this. No, I don't want to tell that story. This is a hard question. It's hard to come up with something. I could only think of one thing, and I really don't want to tell that story because we were younger at the time, and it was just bad advice. It was before we did something before a panel discussion that Marthias and I were supposed to have at midnight, and his wife told us to behave. And we were all staying in the same hotel, so it was safe. But we went to the bar and visited. And at midnight, we didn't think anybody would come in, but we ended up with a full room of people, and I just went to sleep right there on the table. I went to sleep in front of a room full of people. Shame. Don't follow that suit, kids. But I think that's the bad one. So you have actually heard something nobody else heard except for us. What's that?
It's not as bad unless it's in school.
Yes.
And I know because I'm guilty.
Well, actually, in college, Marthias and I used to leave. We would get our assignment and then tell the teacher we were going back to his dorm room to work on that assignment. But we would leave and go downstairs to the basement of the building where there was a restaurant. And we would make waffles. And we would eat waffles till we were sick. And then he would we both would go over to his apartment and we would watch TV, soap operas at that. This is the one I shouldn't tell. We would watch soap operas and work on our typography assignment together.
So where's the best place for teens to, follow you on your socials?
We have a Facebook for Muley, and I've got some things on Instagram. Probably looking for Muley on Facebook would be the best place to go. Doesn't really post a lot over there because he's busy doing his own thing with coloring books and video games. And but that's on socials. That would probably be the best place to find it.
All right. So what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
Let's see. We've talked about the how, the why, the what, the when. You didn't ask about that. Whenever I can perform a puppet, I'll do it. The wherever they'll allow me. I think those were the two that we didn't get into. So now we know the who, what, where, when, and how. To what extent? As much as possible.
So, thank you, Kevin, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
Sure.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call Your Computer Solutions today, and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad. My computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling Your Computer Solutions at 407-826-0810.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you so much, Kevin, for helping me with Math Corners. This week, we're doing some more multi-step word problems. My dad is always good at finding new problems for me to solve, and this week, we're going to do a word problem that has to do with making storyboards. I mean, come on, you're the pro, so this should be a good one for you. So, Thomas is working on a special event and needs to write a story with 4 different puppets. Each puppet will have their own scenes, and then there will be some with all of them together. So, Each single puppet scene will need 5 storyboard frames, and the joint scenes will need 10 frames. On average, it takes about 15 minutes to make each frame for the storyboard. If Thomas wants all the puppets to have the same showtime, and it only has 15 hours to get a story down, how many scenes will he make?
Okay, I'll see you later.
It's okay. I'll got it for you. I'll explain it. Well, first, this is a real world problem because if you want to plan out your story and you have to use storyboards, and if you're crunched for time and you have to plan it out to get it done on time, right? So, first off, you have to take the 15 hours and times that by 60 to get the minutes. So, 15 times 60 is about 900 minutes. So, now you have to figure out how many frames you can make in that time. So 900 minutes divided by 15 per frame is 60. That's actually pretty good. So it's 60 frames. Now you have to ensure that everyone gets the same show time on the stage. So you take the 4 puppets, times it by 5 frames per scene, and the 1 joint scene with 10 frames, and you get 30 frames to do with 5 scenes. Okay, that's actually not bad. So since he has the ability to make 60 frames, so that way you can do twice the amount of 1 scene each. So each puppet can do 2 scenes each with 2 scenes all together for a total of 12 scenes. It's going to be a long night. So Kevin, when you're making stories, do you have to plan out a schedule to get it all done by a deadline, or do you make your stories first and then book them later?
So I'm really not good with math, and all of that's got my brain jumbled. So give me just 1 second. Okay, I think I'm back. So basically, I write the script. If I'm doing it for a video, 1 page of script is typically a minute's worth of film, right, of TV time that you're watching. And so if I'm doing a 30-minute show, then 1 page per minute is 30 pages of script, right? And so that's how I will plan things out, basically by just writing out the script. Of course, the cadence of the story, the cadence of the jokes, the cadence of the words, which words to use and all of that, that's all a different part of the whole writing process when you get into creating your scripts and your stories, right? But if I'm doing something for stage, I think I pretty well write it the same way, 1 page per minute of showtime. Though with some shows that we've done live, like Super Mule and the Great Cookie Caper, Muley's Talentless Review. There's a third one that we did that I'm not recalling right now, but with each of those, I just wrote the script to fill up what time would be needed to tell the story effectively and most entertaining wise, right? Because typically festivals and conventions block out a whole hour for your performance time. And so that gives us a chance to set up, to perform, and then have the rest of the time so that if people want to come over to the stage after and meet particular characters, they can.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for your help with Math Corners.
Sure.
Now it's time for the Heart of a Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the heart of a lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about leadership. For me, I think leadership is the act of loving what is good, having self-control, and being disciplined. The qualities of leadership are providing guidance and direction, organization, and being a positive influence on others. At a rehabilitation facility, an elderly man, Terry, was crying to his counselor about being 61 and having nothing to show for himself. While his counselor heard yelling in the lobby, without hesitation, he went to the lounge area and found a girl unresponsive. He recognized that she was in shock and notified the attending lead counselor. They quickly administered the dose of Neffy, and, she slowly started back to reacting. 20 minutes later, she was overcoming her reaction gracefully. Terry jumped into action and got the job done when it mattered most. That's what I call leadership. That's the definition of leadership. So, Kevin, of all of the Heart of Lion virtues, which is the one that you see the most?
That I see the most? I would say probably, I think I see a lot of good leaders around me. I've got friends who do a lot of different things creatively. You've already talked with Morpheus, for example. He's a good leader when it comes to working with that whole Toshigawa universe that we work in. Then when we flip the script and we're working with Muley stuff, I'm kind of a leader there. And of course, your other uh, titles within Lion, they're all very important parts of being that leader. You have to have the integrity and all. If you don't keep an integrity about yourself, nobody's going to listen to your leadership. And you definitely don't want to lead anybody wrong, right? So probably both of those. It's hard for me just to pick one. Those are all four really good qualities.
Well, we should always try to be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Yes, definitely.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Kevin Williams for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think we learned a lot about your work as a professional puppeteer.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun and fun to share the stories.
No problem. And do you mind giving your social media and website again for me?
I'm going to give you, I'm going to say muleythemule.com, muleythemule.com. And also another place to see a lot of everything I'm doing is over at midsouthcartoonists.org. That's plural on cartoonist there. And Mid-South Cartoonists, all one word when you type it in.
Well, also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show, and I would like to thank WWPR 1490 AM, Canton 98, Soul Radio 24/7, Easy Way TV, and all the other stations that air my show. And please visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. And Kevin, are you subscribed yet?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's good, that's good. Well, this week, Bacon Tato says, took 4 years in high school, sign language is ultimate. And Angel Valentine 2418 says, I love your energy and confidence. Keep going, man. Thank you so much, Angel. I appreciate it. And you, be sure to leave a comment, because I might even mention yours at the end of my show. And be sure to listen to us next one on the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy. And that's a wrap.